Have you ever found yourself staring at your bank account, feeling that knot in your stomach tighten as the numbers refuse to grow? Maybe you've tried everything, the manifestation techniques, the affirmations, the vision boards, yet abundance seems to slip through your fingers like water. I used to believe I was simply unlucky, or that the universe had somehow overlooked me in its distribution of prosperity. But what if I told you that the real barrier between you and financial abundance isn't external at all? What if the true blockage is something far more intimate? Something you carry with you every day without even realizing its power. I'm Maya Serafina, and 15 years ago, I was exactly where you might be right now, living paycheck to paycheck in my small Sedona apartment, drowning in student debt, watching friends progress while I remained financially stagnant. The constant worry about money was exhausting, draining my energy, my creativity, and my joy. But here's the truth I discovered during my spiritual awakening, one that completely transformed my relationship with abundance. Your self-image is the invisible architecture of your financial reality. Before I dive deeper, I want to give you something valuable right away. A quick exercise that can begin shifting your energy immediately. Close your eyes for just 30 seconds. Imagine yourself as a clear vessel, a beautiful crystal vase. See any murky water, your current financial anxieties, being poured out, replaced by a golden light of abundance flowing in. As this light fills you, simply whisper, "I am worthy of receiving." This simple practice, done daily, begins retraining your energy field to become receptive to prosperity. I've seen this small ritual alone create remarkable shifts for many who felt financially stuck. Now let's explore the deeper truth I've uncovered through years of spiritual study and personal transformation. Our financial circumstances aren't random. They're precise reflections of how we see ourselves at the most fundamental level. When I trace back the stories of thousands I've worked with over the years, a pattern emerges with striking clarity. Those struggling with persistent cash flow problems are almost always experiencing one of three spiritual signals that their self-image is actively blocking abundance. The first signal manifests as a peculiar contradiction in your life. Have you noticed how money might come to you? Perhaps an unexpected bonus, a tax return, or even a small lottery win, only to vanish just as quickly through sudden expenses, impulse purchases, or bizarre timing of bills? This phenomenon isn't coincidence or bad luck. It's your self-image maintaining its energetic set point. Your conscious mind might desperately want more money, but your deeper self-image, the unconscious blueprint of who you believe you truly are, is programmed for scarcity. When your financial reality temporarily exceeds what your self-image believes is appropriate for you, it creates a subtle but powerful energetic discomfort. Your entire being works to resolve this discomfort by returning to the familiar, even if the familiar is lack. I discovered this pattern in my own life when I received an unexpected inheritance from a distant relative. The amount wasn't life-changing, but it was significant enough to potentially clear my debts and create breathing room. Within 3 months, however, every dollar had disappeared, through a car breakdown, a rental increase, and several unexpected medical bills. The timing seemed almost orchestrated, as though some force was ensuring I remained in my financial comfort zone. That force, I later realized, was my own self-image demanding consistency. The second spiritual signal appears in your relationships with those who have what you want. Pay close attention to your authentic internal response when you encounter someone with abundant wealth. Not the polite face you show the world, but the genuine emotion that rises within. Do you feel a subtle resentment? A questioning of whether they truly deserve their prosperity? Perhaps assumptions about how they obtain their wealth? This judgment, often operating below conscious awareness, is a clear indicator that your self-image has created a negative association with wealth itself. In the spiritual realm, judgment creates separation, and separation blocks flow. If wealth has become something they have, but you don't, something foreign to your identity, you've energetically positioned abundance as external to yourself. I remember attending a wellness retreat years ago, before my awakening to these principles. The retreat was hosted at a stunning private estate, and I found myself creating elaborate internal narratives about the owner, how they must have inherited their wealth, or perhaps achieved it through questionable means. The judgment felt justified at the time, even righteous. Only later did I understand that each assumption was really my self-image defending its limited beliefs about prosperity, keeping abundance safely outside my identity. The third and perhaps most subtle signal exists in your vocabulary. Specifically, the stories you habitually tell about your financial situation. Notice the phrases you repeatedly use. I can't afford that. Money is tight right now. I'm not the type of person who... These aren't merely descriptions of temporary circumstances. They're incantations that continuously reinforce your financial self-image. Our words are vibrational blueprints that the universe faithfully echoes back to us. When scarcity-based phrases become your default language, you're essentially placing a standing order with the cosmos for more experiences that validate that identity. During my early 30s, I caught myself in a pattern of beginning nearly every financial discussion with "as a struggling artist." This prefix had become so automatic I didn't even hear myself saying it anymore. It was my unconscious way of lowering expectations, both others and my own, about my financial capacity. But energetically, it was doing something far more significant. It was instructing the universe about who I was at my core. I was literally identifying myself with struggle, binding my creative expression to financial limitation, as though they were inseparable aspects of the same identity. These three signals, the mysterious disappearance of incoming money, judgment of others' wealth, and scarcity-based self-talk, aren't superficial habits. They're external symptoms of a profound spiritual misalignment in how you see yourself in relation to abundance. The good news is that once recognized, these signals become powerful gateways for transformation. The very awareness you're cultivating right now, simply by recognizing these patterns, is already beginning the alchemical process of change. The question naturally arises, how did this limiting self-image form in the first place? Most of us weren't born believing we're unworthy of abundance. These beliefs are typically imprinted during our formative years through both direct and indirect experiences. Perhaps you grew up hearing phrases like, "money doesn't grow on trees," or "we can't afford that." Maybe you witnessed financial stress in your household, absorbing the unspoken message that money is scarce and difficult to obtain. Or perhaps you observed how money created conflict between people you loved, leading to an unconscious association between wealth and relationship problems. For me, the imprinting came from my artistic family, who unintentionally but consistently reinforced the narrative that creative expression and financial struggle were naturally paired, as though one couldn't exist without the other. Starving artist wasn't just a cliché in our home. It was presented as a badge of authenticity, a sign that one was truly dedicated to their craft, rather than corrupted by commercial success. I absorbed this belief so completely that when early opportunities for financial abundance appeared in my creative career, I found myself sabotaging them, fearing that comfort would somehow dilute my artistic integrity. Religious programming can be particularly powerful in shaping our financial self-image. Many traditions contain teachings that can be interpreted as positioning wealth in opposition to spiritual virtue. Phrases like, "It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven," or "money is the root of all evil," a misquotation importantly, can deeply influence how we unconsciously perceive the spiritual appropriateness of prosperity in our lives. If at any level you've internalized the belief that spiritual purity requires material simplicity or sacrifice, your self-image will faithfully maintain financial limitation as a form of unconscious virtue. The educational system further shapes our relationship with abundance through its emphasis on security over possibility. Most of us were taught to seek stable employment rather than abundant prosperity, to aim for enough rather than plenty. The message, subtle but persistent, was that responsible adults prioritize predictable income over expansive wealth. This conditioning isn't about practical financial management. It's about appropriate aspiration, what we believe we should want and what we believe is realistically available to someone like us. These layered influences create what I call your prosperity set point, the unconscious ceiling on what you believe is appropriate for you financially. Like a thermostat in your home, this set point works diligently to maintain consistency. When circumstances temporarily push you above this set point, subtle self-sabotage often follows. When life attempts to pull you below it, you're likely to find the motivation and resources to return to your familiar level. This explains why lottery winners often return to their previous financial status within years, and why those who lose everything frequently rebuild to similar levels of wealth. The external circumstances change, but the internal set point remains the governing force. Understanding these dynamics is crucial, but awareness alone isn't enough. Transformation requires a systematic approach to reprogramming your financial self-image from the inside out. This isn't about positive thinking as a superficial overlay. It's about conducting deep spiritual surgery on the core beliefs that have been invisibly directing your financial reality. The process I'm about to share emerged from my own journey and has been refined through working with thousands of clients over 15 years. It addresses abundance blocks at the level of energy, identity, and spiritual alignment. The first step involves a practice I call ancestral financial clearing. Our relationship with money isn't entirely personal. We inherit energetic patterns around prosperity from our lineage. These patterns live in our energetic DNA, influencing our financial reality regardless of our conscious desires. Set aside 30 minutes in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and visualize yourself standing in a circle with 7 generations of your ancestors behind you and 7 generations of descendants before you. Acknowledge out loud, I honor the financial stories, struggles, and beliefs I've inherited. I recognize that these patterns served a purpose in their time. With reverence for those who came before me, I now choose to release any inherited limitations around abundance that no longer serve the highest good. Feel the energetic weight of these inherited patterns lifting from your field. Then turn to face the future generations and state, I choose to transmute these patterns now, freeing both myself and all future generations from these limitations. I establish a new legacy of abundance consciousness that flows forward from this moment. This ritual, performed with sincere intention, begins releasing the ancestral component of your financial self-image, often creating space for immediate shifts in your prosperity consciousness. The second practice addresses the vibrational misalignment between your current self and abundant wealth. I call this prosperity field immersion, and it works directly with the quantum reality that you attract experiences that match your energetic frequency. For 21 consecutive days, immerse yourself in environments that embody the prosperity you desire, not as a tourist or observer, but as someone who belongs there. This might mean visiting luxury stores, exploring high-end real estate open houses, or dining at an upscale restaurant, even if just for appetizers or tea. The crucial element isn't the spending of money, but the conscious management of your energy while in these environments. Most people with limited financial self-images experience immediate discomfort in affluent settings, a feeling of being exposed as an imposter, or resentment toward those who seem at ease there. Your practice is to breathe through this discomfort, consciously choosing thoughts like, this level of beauty and abundance is natural to me. I belong in these environments. Prosperity flows to me easily and joyfully. The consistent exposure, paired with conscious energetic alignment, gradually rewrites your nervous system's response to abundance from rejection to resonance. I remember my first deliberate prosperity field immersion, walking into a luxury hotel lobby where I had no intention of staying, simply to sit in their elegant lounge and order a single cup of tea. The discomfort was intense. My heart raced, my palms sweat, and internal voices questioned my right to occupy the space. But I stayed, breathing through each sensation, mentally affirming my belonging with each breath. By the 21st day of similar practices, I could enter such environments with genuine ease, feeling neither intimidated nor resentful. Within 2 months of completing this practice, I received an unexpected opportunity that doubled my income, as though the universe was responding to my new energetic readiness for abundance. The third component of this transformation involves restructuring your identity-level relationship with money through what I call prosperity persona integration. This practice acknowledges that sustainable change must occur at the level of identity, not just in what you do, but in who you understand yourself to be. Begin by writing a detailed description of your current money persona, the version of yourself that handles financial matters. Be unflinchingly honest about this persona's beliefs, habits, fears, and limitations. What does this aspect of you believe about wealth? How does it feel about prosperous people? What rules does it live by regarding money? Once you've fully articulated this current persona, create a new character, your abundant self. This isn't a fantasy, but rather the most aligned version of you in relationship with prosperity. How does this self think about money? What beliefs does it hold? How does it interact with wealth and wealthy individuals? What financial decisions does it make? Describe this persona in vivid detail, as though documenting someone you've observed closely. For the next 30 days, consciously step into this abundance persona for at least 15 minutes daily. This isn't pretending. It's energetic rehearsal, a practice of embodying the consciousness that naturally attracts prosperity. You might begin financial planning from this perspective, make small purchasing decisions as this self, or simply walk through the world seeing through these eyes. The consistent practice creates new neural pathways that gradually transform your prosperity identity from the inside out. As these 3 practices begin shifting your financial self-image, you'll likely encounter what I call abundance resistance, the psychological and energetic backlash that occurs when you start outgrowing your familiar limitations. This resistance often manifests as sudden fatigue when thinking about financial improvement, mysterious obstacles to implementing changes, or the appearance of people who seem determined to reinforce your old beliefs about what's possible for you. Recognize these experiences as evidence that you're disrupting your old patterns, not signs that you should abandon your efforts. The journey of transforming your financial self-image isn't linear. You'll experience breakthroughs followed by backsliding, moments of expansive possibility followed by constriction. This rhythm is natural and necessary. Each time you return to limitation after tasting freedom, you have the opportunity to release another layer of your scarcity programming. The key is persistence through these cycles, maintaining your practices even when, especially when, they feel futile. The most powerful transformations often occur immediately after the strongest resistance. Throughout my 15 years guiding others through this work, I've observed a fascinating pattern in how abundance manifests following these practices. Rather than simply increasing the amount of money flowing through the same channels, the transformation typically opens entirely new pathways for prosperity, often in unexpected forms. Someone who has struggled for years to increase their salary might suddenly receive an opportunity for passive income. An inheritance might appear from an unknown relative, or a hobby might effortlessly evolve into a profitable venture. This pattern reveals an important spiritual truth. The universe responds not just to your desire for more abundance, but to your expanded capacity to receive it. When your self-image transforms to accommodate greater prosperity, the universe rarely delivers it through the limited channels you've been forcing. Instead, it reveals entirely new rivers of abundance that were always available but previously invisible to your scarcity-based perception. My own experience illustrates this principle vividly. For years, I struggled to increase my income through traditional client work, constantly hitting the same ceiling despite working increasingly longer hours. After 6 months of dedicated practice to transform my financial self-image, my breakthrough came not through more clients or higher rates, but through an inspired idea for an online course that allowed me to share my teachings with thousands rather than dozens, creating an entirely different relationship between my energy investment and financial return. The abundance was waiting not in working harder within my limited model, but in expanding my self-image to embrace a more leveraged expression of my gifts. As your financial self-image transforms, you'll notice changes extending far beyond your bank account. Relationships often shift as you no longer resonate with connections based in shared struggle or limitation. Your physical energy typically increases as the subtle drain of financial worry diminishes. Creative expression frequently expands as the survival-based constriction in your nervous system relaxes. These holistic changes reflect an important principle. Financial transformation is never just about money. It's about becoming a truer, more expanded version of yourself, one that naturally attracts abundance in all forms. The ultimate destination of this journey isn't simply having more money, it's experiencing a fundamentally different relationship with abundance itself. In this transformed state, prosperity stops being something you chase and becomes something you allow, a natural expression of your authentic energy flowing without obstruction. Money transforms from a scarce resource you must strategize to obtain into a consistent reflection of the value you contribute through your joyful self-expression. The shift is from effortful acquisition to aligned attraction, a profoundly different experience of how abundance operates in your life. I want to be transparent about an essential truth. This transformation demands courage. Releasing your familiar relationship with limitation means venturing into unknown territory, challenging core beliefs about who you are and what's possible for you. Many begin this journey but retreat when faced with the magnitude of change it requires. The most common point of abandonment comes when early success reveals how much of your identity and relationships have been structured around limitation. The prospect of becoming someone new, even someone more prosperous and free, can trigger profound fear. This fear is natural and honorable. It reflects the significance of the shift you're undertaking. Rather than trying to overcome this fear, acknowledge it as a sacred guardian of your transformation, a force ensuring that you don't undertake this journey lightly. Speak to this fear directly. I honor your intention to protect me from the unknown. I'm choosing to move forward not because I dismiss your concerns, but because the call toward my expanded self is stronger than the comfort of my limitations. As I bring our time together to a close, I want to acknowledge the deeper purpose of financial transformation. While material comfort and freedom are meaningful benefits, they're not the ultimate purpose of this work. The true gold in this alchemical process is the person you become through confronting and transcending your limitations around prosperity. Each belief you challenge, each fear you face, each pattern you transform strengthens your spiritual sovereignty, your capacity to consciously create in all areas of life. The relationship between self-image and financial reality isn't arbitrary. It reflects a profound spiritual principle. Your external circumstances will always align with your internal truth. By consciously transforming how you see yourself in relation to abundance, you're not merely changing your financial situation, you're claiming your power as a deliberate creator of your entire reality. This is the deeper invitation hidden within your financial challenges, to recognize them not as obstacles to overcome, but as gateways to becoming the full expression of who you truly are. Remember the crystal vessel visualization I shared at the beginning? Return to it now, but with an expanded awareness. See yourself not just as a vessel being filled, but as a boundless source of the golden light itself. not just receiving abundance, but generating it through your very being. This shift from vessel to source represents the ultimate transformation in your prosperity consciousness, from one who seeks abundance to one who embodies it. From this embodiment, all external forms of prosperity flow not as separate acquisitions, but as natural extensions of your abundant nature. The path I've shared with you today has emerged from both ancient wisdom and contemporary understanding of energy, consciousness, and manifestation. It integrates spiritual principles with practical action, inner transformation with outer results. While I've outlined specific practices, trust your intuition to guide your unique journey. The specific forms may vary, but the essence remains: conscious recognition and release of limiting beliefs, energetic alignment with prosperity, and consistent embodiment of your abundant identity. If you feel called to this path of transformation, begin today with a single step. Choose one practice that resonates most strongly and commit to it for the next 7 days. Notice not just the external results, but the internal shifts, the subtle changes in how you feel about money, wealth, and your relationship to abundance. These internal shifts are the true indicators of transformation occurring at the level of self-image. Trust that as your inner reality changes, your outer circumstances will inevitably follow, not through magical thinking, but through the consistent operation of universal principles. I honor your courage in confronting the truth about your financial self-image and your willingness to embark on this journey of transformation. The fact that you've received this message is no coincidence. It suggests your readiness for this next phase of your evolution. Trust the wisdom that drew you to these teachings and the inner guidance that will illuminate your unique path forward. The abundant life awaiting you isn't just possible. From the perspective of your transformed self-image, it's inevitable.